what's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name's Matt.
My name's Dyl, and we're finally back like a week later, post-Oscar nominations. The madness is behind us, and now we're into what some people would consider the most entertaining part of the season. To me, it's like the lull of the season, because most of these categories, we may know who's winning, but now there's not many more new nominations coming out. It's kind of sitting with what we have and guessing where it's going to go from here. There's not much more speculation left. Now we're really in the end game.
Yeah, the lull is a really good way to describe this period because we're still like 3 weeks out from any more awards. Like we're just sitting here waiting for something to happen. There's not going to be big changes or anything. Like this is the time where, you know, that weird period in the summer where people are just making up bullshit. And there's another like weird period in October where people are just making up bullshit and being like, I'm bored. What if this happened? This is
Yeah.
another one of those times when it's like we start getting random like mudslinging happening where like there's takedown pieces going around and like it's just weird shit happens right now. And it's just like a time when people are looking for anything to like people right now are being like, what if it's actually a three-way race and it's actually one battle versus Sinners versus Hamnet? And what if one battle doesn't win anything and Hamnet takes adapted and Sinners takes picture and director? Like I'm hearing people speculating this and it's just like, guys, we can't be this bored right now.
There's
We can't be this
some
bored.
there's some crazy stuff out there I can buy a little bit into. We'll talk about some of that here today, but I do agree for the most part, this is the part of the year where you get the crazy stuff. And unlike all the way back in like June, you don't have excuses because now you've either seen everything or other people have seen this stuff. Back in
Yeah.
June, we hadn't seen anything. You're allowed to be crazy a little bit and throw out some crazy predictions. But before we dive into everything that we're talking about today, the past week of awards, throwing up our prediction accuracy here, we have two more shows. We have BAFTA, we have Oscar. Matt, you take another W with the BAFTA. You blew me up by like 3 points here. I think you were in like the top 150 at the BAFTAs,
Oh,
but things
wow. That's a
flipped a little
first.
bit over at the Oscars. I beat you by three, and if I hadn't taken out Blue Moon in original screenplay, I easily could have been top 100, which burns me to say, but I'll take my I think it was like 220 something like that. So not awful out of what was it, like 20,000 people. Which awards expert shout out so many people on that app now.
Yeah. I've been really happy to see like community engagement with awards expert. I've got friends at school who are like not big awards people. They're just like sort of tangentially they dabble. And they have awards expert apps. Like they have profiles and I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That's so cool. Like my roommate randomly had one. You can follow us on there if you're not already following us. Of
Yeah,
course. Of
links to
course.
the description for our awards experts, our letterbox, our Discord channel where not much awards nominations are coming out, but we're rolling out our server award nominations. So if you are just this addicted to awards, we got some down below.
But anyways, let's get into it. We're going to talk BAFTA, we're going to talk WGA, we're going to talk ACE. And as we talk about that, we might see if we get any new insights into what might be winning these categories at the end of the day at the Oscars. So, Dill, where do you want to start?
I guess let's start off with ACE and let's start off with WGA because I think these are two that really overlap with each other because they're just showing the strength of certain movies. So I guess WGA first here is we knew our adapted five coming in. It's the same five as the Oscars. Everything was eligible. So if you didn't go 5 for 5, don't really know what to tell you. This is the Oscar five. No need to overthink it. And over an original, obviously Sinners is eligible. Obviously Marty Supreme is eligible. But everything else that made the Oscars wasn't. Blue Moon wasn't eligible. The two international titles weren't. So like we throw in weapons, that's really in the awards conversation. Is like, what do you do for the last two slots? If I had legs that kick you, makes so much sense off the back of Rose Byrne. But shout out Black Bag. That's at least to me such a heater of a movie and hasn't been talked about at all in award season. It shows up here over at WGA.
Yeah, Black Bag is a cool shout. I'm surprised If I Had Legs hasn't gotten more screenplay love with how much love Rose Byrne has gotten through the season. So very cool that that got here. Jay Kelly, that was eligible, right? It
Yeah,
just got
Jay
fucked
Kelly
here
was eligible, no nomination.
and no F1. either,
No,
which is
no F1 off its Best Picture nomination, but it's still, I think F1 would be such a weird original screenplay, especially with the WGA type vibes. I get they sometimes reach for Best Picture nominees, but like even before something like Black Bag, you would think of maybe like a House of Dynamite or Is This Thing On, or even like Rental Family. And
mhm.
no, none of them. They went with the cool pick, and they went with, like you said, If I Had Legs, you would expect to have more screenplay mentions.
Well, on F1, someone went through and said, I think it's the first since Beauty and the Beast. It's the first film to get a Best Picture nomination at the Oscars without receiving a single directing, writing, or acting nomination at the Oscars or any precursor.
Crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And I think this goes to something that I think we need to correct ourselves with. I think a lot of other people need to correct themselves out there with too. Leading up to the predictions, I know we both predicted F1 to make Best Picture, but a large reason why I think there was so much doubt upon F1's Best Picture nominations, like where were the number one votes coming from? Obviously, there was no acting. Obviously, there's no directing or writing. But I think, especially this year, obviously, it is the blockbuster pick. I know Sinners behind me made a lot
It's
of money, but it
I wouldn't say blockbuster pick. I'd say it's the dad movie pick.
I mean, I think the dad movie term gets blown out of proportions a little bit here and there, but I think on top of the blockbuster pick, because every year there's going to be at least one, if not two. And I remember we were outside of Avatar Fire and Ash talking with the twins. It was like, hey, Avatar, is this movie to make it? I don't know. Wicked got tarnished. And I was like, well, F1's still around. This can fill the blockbuster slot. It's just like, what else does it have behind it? And what it does have, I think, is just the passion behind some of these techs and craft people. I think
Mhm.
for so many visual effects artists, so many sound branch designers, so many editors, and maybe even cinematographers. I know they don't like Claudio Miranda, but I still think F1 is a true feat in all four of those categories. And so many people there could potentially put at their number one, their number two, number three to help bolster that Best Picture campaign and sneak in as the number 10 slot. And now at this point, does F1 win two Oscars?
No. It wins one. We haven't had sound and editing line up for last time was 2019. 2019. That's the last. No, 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 2020. 2021?
Sound of Metal.
No, Dune. Dune.
Dunes.
2021 was the
Okay,
last time.
2021.
Yeah, so Everything Everywhere broke it. Oppenheimer broke it, and then
Anora.
Anora broke it. And this year, One Battle makes so much sense for editing. It makes so much sense for editing. That is an editing movie. Like, it is so fast paced, it's so action packed, it has great sound design. I think without F1 in the race, it would be the sound winner. That's my belief. I know some people would say Sinners. I think that One Battle would win without F1 in the category. To me, it makes a lot of sense to go with a split. We get One Battle winning editing, F1 winning sound. But still, I think F1 is the runner-up in editing for sure.
Mhm. And I think that moves us over to the Ace nomination. Sadly, F1 One Battle. They're in opposite categories. They both should win their respective categories, so
Yeah.
we won't really get any light here. But over in
Well,
drama
I think
feature,
it's very possible that Sinners could win drama here, which would show a lot of strength for the film. If we're starting to see a surge for Sinners and we're starting to see some guild love, then it would really definitely win the ace.
I,
So,
I
yeah.
would agree. If it does win Ace, I think that means, to your further point, One Battle just goes on to take editing. But I still think if F1 wins Ace and it potentially wins the BAFTA because we know they love their Vroom Vroom movies,
Yeah.
I think F1 then just goes on to the Oscar. But here at Ace, we have F1, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Weapons over in drama, which if we had this information a week ago, I think that you at least probably would have thrown Sentimental Value higher up in your editing predictions. Maybe not in the top five, but you
I
may have
think I
had it as
would
like
have
an
had it at number
alternative.
6, probably. Yeah.
And then over in comedy, we have Begonia, Marty Supreme, One Battle, Wake Up Dead Man, and Wicked for Good. So, like, I don't think this helps too much to help clarify, but I think the thing that does show here is Frankenstein's nowhere to be seen in editing. So,
Yeah.
I know I personally was going back and forth between Hamnet and Frankenstein for my fifth slot. For me, this would have been like, oh, Hamnet just gets in, but obviously Hamnet misses out since Value gets that editing nomination at the Oscars.
Yeah, and I think this would have been like a death blow for this is a crazy thing to say because editing and directing have nothing, but to me that would have been a show of like, yeah, Del Toro's not in director.
Yeah.
If we had this first, I would have been like, okay, maybe Frankenstein isn't top 5. It's just outside the top 5. Right? Because that top 5 there, F1, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Weapons is an interesting pick for best drama. Um Yeah, you could easily put Frankenstein there over Weapons. It's amazing how well Weapons has done with guilds. It
It,
really could have gotten more than one nomination.
and I think with Weapons, the biggest hindrance to that movie was just the fact that it was Warner Brothers #3 behind another horror adjacent type movie of
Yeah.
Sinners, where if Sinners wasn't around this award season or it wasn't the awards juggernaut that it was, breaking the nomination record, I do
Hmm.
agree. Weapons probably would be in Best Picture, probably would have original screenplay, could have a casting nomination, and then who knows what else could have came down the line with a whole season of campaigning as your either #1 or #2 option. But like you said, Frankenstein missing out here, I think, is its death blow to be considered the top five awards contender, where Sentimental Value or Hamnet now moves to that top five, depending on who you were ahead of these nominations. And I guess the last thing we'll dive into before we get over to BAFTA is our Sound Guild, who has been pretty consistent as of late, gives F1 their sound win. The other nominees here were Frankenstein, Mission Impossible, Sinners, and Warfare. So
Hmm.
I think I know there's been so much talk about what to do in the sound category, and hey, I mean, Best Picture movies here, F1's in Best Picture. I think it just kind of gets this, and even if it is just Top Gun Maverick just winning sound, it kind of makes sense now.
Yeah, no, it's 100. I mean, I think F1 is as good as locked for sound. I would be so shocked if something else took sound from it. They love those car movies. They love those car movies. And like I just don't see the motivation to go for Sinners or One Battle. I don't see the motivation. I just want to quickly circle back to Ace, just because this is a point for you, Dylan. You can cut this out if you want to. In best editing for a documentary, they nominated Questlove's movie, Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music for best edited doc. Dude, you got to watch that.
I
You got to
do.
watch that movie.
I need to see both his docs from this year. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Sly Lives. I
Yeah, I
was
haven't
really
seen Sly
hoping.
Lives yet, but I like the SNL one that Questlove did is one of the best edited documentaries I've ever seen. It's phenomenally well edited.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
really happy to see a shout out for that here. And I'd love to see it win. That would be my vote over The Perfect Neighbor. But I need you to see that because you loved Summer of Soul so much. And this is just like one big like concert supercut. It's amazing.
well, I'm super excited to watch that. I have some things here now that I predominantly work from home 7 days a week. I have more time to watch stuff. Been watching Industry, zooming through that really good TV show with a lot of people who have been nominated for BAFTA Rising Stars. So why don't we go over to the
Hmm,
BAFTAs now?
let's hit
Because
it.
this is something that if we had these nominations before the Oscars, could help clarify a lot of things. Going back to our predictions that we talked about, I am not very proud to say that after the Oscars, I went to my BAFTA predictions and I changed a few stuff. And between everything I changed, I lost out on six correct predictions. So for people out there, don't reverse engineer your predictions. It never works out that way.
It's so weird having BAFTA as a post cursor this year instead of a precursor. Like it's really really weird that we had to use Oscar nominations to predict the BAFTA instead of BAFTA to predict the Oscar,
hmm
which is like BAFTA is a really good Oscar predictor. Oscar is not a very good BAFTA predictor. Does that
I
make
learned
sense?
that I learned that firsthand this year because there's things that is like, oh, the only way it could have missed the Oscar is if it would miss the BAFTA. Chase Infinity, boom, gets nominated for the BAFTA. And then there's numerous texts with Wicked and stuff. It's like, oh, well, the only way it could have to miss the Oscar is if it blinked at BAFTA. And no, it still got its guaranteed stuff here at BAFTA.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start at the top. And as we talk about these BAFTA categories, why don't we throw in if this tells us anything about the Oscar race in that category? And we can throw our first prediction, first official prediction for the winner, both at BAFTA and at the Academy Awards.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's start with best film here. So we got Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle, Sentimental Value, Sinners. I just saw today that these five films are the only five films this year that all got BAFTA, all got Golden Globe, all got CCA, all got PGA, and Oscar. So they got the big five. And that means that likely, if we only had five Best Picture nominees, this is the five.
I totally agree. And I think that's what BAFTA tells us is, hey, this is your top five, in addition to the fact that these are our five best director nominations over at the Academy Awards. You can make your arguments what's number three, four, and five, but we know our top two, and they're here as well. And I'm assuming that one battle will take BAFTA regardless of whatever happens at the Oscars. I mean, I think there is an argument for Sinners to win Best Picture, but I currently still have one battle for both. But for Sinners to win, I have been predicting for it to win SAG all year long. I need PGA to come along with it, which I don't think is that far out of the question. PGA in its history has never done a film that did not turn a theatrical profit outside of the streaming movies. And that year,
Mm.
your number one and your number two was Coda and Power of the Dog, two streaming movies. They didn't have another option. And even Dune was like the biggest moneymaker that year. That didn't really make that much over its budget. So that I think is more causation than correlation.
Yeah. I
But
think
it's something to think about.
I don't think PGA voters are looking at it that way. And as we've seen, no one's thinking of one battle as a flop this year.
Hmm.
Like that's been proven time and time again. It's not being seen the way that most movies that flop are seen. This is being seen as this massive triumph. Even if it did fail to turn a profit, people are rallying behind it like it's one of the biggest hits of the year. I would say if we're looking for a Sinners win, it starts with the guilds. It does not start with BAFTA. But why don't we talk about animated? They only have three nominees. They went with Elio, Little Amelie, Zootopia. They did not go with K-pop Demon Hunters, and they did not go for the fake out of Demon Slayer in the stead of not being able to do K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, Zootopia 2 likely wins here, and it makes no difference to the race. K-pop Demon Hunters is walking to a sweep.
Yeah, what I think is interesting here is Arco isn't here. So I think for all those people theorizing of what could be the international title, the small indie to overcome, it could have been Little Amelie, I guess, but K-pop's won everything so far that's eligible for. It didn't miss this because they didn't like it. It missed it because it wasn't eligible here. So I do agree. Zootopia 2 makes the most sense, or Zootropolis 2, as the Brits
Yeah.
call it. I wouldn't be shocked if Little Amelie takes it, but I'm still going with Zootopia.
Best film not in the English language. We get the exact Oscar lineup at BAFTA. And really, if sentimental value doesn't win here, there's a glitch in the fucking matrix because The Secret Agent was not nominated like anywhere else at BAFTA. Sentimental value has to take this. It's nominated in Best Film at BAFTA. It would be absolutely absurd for it to lose here. But if it does lose here, then you can just wrap up that Oscar.
Yeah, I think what we're going for is what you said the last time that we talked is that sentimental value will go off of the strength of the BAFTA, potentially win the Oscar. I still think that Secret Agent may have more number one passion votes, but we'll really have to see how it breaks down here in the weeks to come because maybe Secret Agent has already peaked and the buzz is already out because they don't vote for winners for like another whole month. Can it sustain this with no new nominations and no new award shows that it's eligible to compete in? Because it can't compete for SAG and it's not going to win the BAFTA before voting opens. The BAFTA may help us out in the international feature category. If we had these nominations ahead of time, Doc would not do us any favors either because these are all movies that were in that realm to potentially get nominated. And BAFTA typically goes two or three out of five. And this year we have two here of The Perfect Neighbor and Mr. Nobody Against Putin. And I had 2,000 meters. I had Cover Up. Or I didn't have Cover Up. But I had 2,000 meters and Apocalypse in the Tropics in my nominations. So ahead of time, I may have dropped one of them to try to keep that BAFTA two out of five, but I wasn't adding Putin.
Well, okay, interesting thing here. Of the BAFTA long list, they had 10 documentaries. 5 out of 10 of those documentaries were on the Oscar shortlist, and all 5 of those are the nominations
I
that
feel like it's the
happened
first time they've
here.
done that.
Yeah, they usually go off of what the Oscar shortlist is for the category of documentary. But yeah, I mean, Perfect Neighbor looks like it should be in a really good position to sweep. I still think that Come See Me in the Good Light has a chance for the Oscars, but right now it's Perfect Neighbor versus Come See Me as like you've got the more artsy, more socially relevant film versus the feel-good movie. And that's what the battle's going to be. But right now, I think it would be stupid not to predict The Perfect Neighbor, even if I'm not predicting The Perfect Neighbor. But BAFTA, Perfect Neighbor, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, for me with Perfect Neighbor, it was just, can I get nominated? It's got nominated. I feel like it's just going to be Summer Soul. It continues to get what it needs. It gets the extra nominations that shows where it could get extra nominations. And until it loses, I can't really predict against it otherwise. And I think that's really the case over for Best Director as well. Paul Thomas Anderson, say what you want about Sinners or One Battle Rising or Falling or even Hamnet. PTA's not losing this award.
PTA's not losing this. No, no chance. And I mean, the director category at BAFTA, especially, right? Like, I think we can count on him getting this. I feel like PTA has won BAFTAs before. If I'm not mistaken, he won for Licorice Pizza.
Let's
But like,
look.
I'm just saying that while the Oscars have not awarded PTA before, BAFTAs have. And BAFTA, I think, has no hesitation to go all out for one battle after another. Yeah, even if Sinners picks up steam, I don't think Sinners wins director. Even if somehow they're like, oh, we're going to go with the British movie for best film, Chloe Zhao doesn't win best director. It's PTA.
And you are right, it did win the BAFTA for original screenplay.
Yeah, over Belfast, which is crazy. Anyways, let's move to the screenplay categories here at BAFTA. I think I did like a crazy shout, Hail Mary, and was like, I swear that's getting in. And it did. And I wonder if we can look to next year and think that I swear might be a contender for next Oscars because it's not eligible this year. It will be eligible next year. I wonder if, I mean, we'll get to leading actor where Robert Aramayo is there, but I wonder if he has a shot or if screenplay has a shot next year.
I think it would really come down to who's distributing it here stateside.
I
But
think it's
that
Sony
this
Pictures Classics.
well,
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
that would have been who I would have said is the only people who could pull something like that off. But again,
Yeah.
that's a conversation for next year. This year, adapted, like you said, PTA, Sign, Seal, Deliver. He's not losing this award. Original though, maybe you can cast some doubt when Sinners Behind Me and say Sentimental Value. It got all the nominations it needed here, but BAFTA has shown in the past they will go with what is sweeping the category if it's nominated. And Sinners is here. Sinners is most likely going to win.
Sinners is most likely going to win, but Sentimental Value is definitely lurking in the shadows. I do want to just amend. Earlier, I said Secret Agent didn't get any other nominations at BAFTA. It did get screenplay, and that's like the only screenplay nomination it's gotten all season long. So good for it. It really, and it was just an accident missed screenplay here, which is crazy because that makes the Oscars and Secret Agent doesn't. And isn't this like a weird thing where Secret Agent makes Best Picture without screenplay, and it was just an accident makes screenplay without picture in the same
Yeah.
screenplay category?
I totally agree there, and I think it really goes down to how those films were pushed for so long. Where if maybe Neon started out of the gate saying, "Hey, this is a screenplay movie too," maybe that could have came along and taken that
Maybe.
nomination. And I think really interesting though would have been is if we had the BAFTA nominations ahead of time, would we have been like, "Hey,
Yeah, would we
Secret
have
Agent will
taken
get
it
that
was just an
nomination"?
accident out?
I guess for me, I wouldn't have taken that out, but I may have not included Blue Moon originally and then switched it over to Sorry Baby. I probably would have just been Secret Agent all the way, got the BAFTA,
Yeah,
despite
you would
not
have had
making
the
any other
same lineup that I
shortlist.
did because I had both Accident and Secret Agent in.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially now in retrospect, that was the smartest way to go about it. It's not really the way it worked out.
Now, over in these acting categories, let's hit lead actress first, where we really get no surprises. We get the Oscar 5 plus Chase Infinity, and it should be the Oscar 5 plus Kate Hudson, but unfortunately, fate didn't work out that way. I'm shocked that Kate Hudson got a BAFTA nomination, though. Like, that's crazy to me. I thought she was lucky to get the shortlist, but hey, here you go.
And I think what we had to take away from this Kate Hudson nonsense, you can call it that award season, is the person who did her campaign is the same person who did Demi Moore, it's the same person who did Andrea Riseborough. So whoever they're pushing next year, screw whatever movie they're in, shoot them in your best five for lead actress.
I would actually say if we had BAFTA first, I would have absolutely put Kate Hudson in over Chase Infinity, because this would have shown to me like, oh, she's realer than Pamela Anderson. Like this is not just like a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
She's gonna make it.
We said that during our recordings. We're like, oh, she's not going to get the BAFTA, but if she had the BAFTA, she would overtake Pamela, who didn't get BAFTA, was just SAG and
Yeah.
Globe. And that's what we were expecting for her path to be too, especially being the number three movie from her team, because they have Emma Stone, they have Jessie Buckley, but that doesn't matter. Kate Hudson, lead actress nomination, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, BAFTA would have been really illuminating here. Now, lead actor, I did mention Robert Aramayo earlier. Otherwise, we've got 4 out of 5 of the Oscars group, plus Jesse Plemons minus Wagner Moura, because Moura was not on the long list here. And honestly, I'm glad to see Jesse Plemons get some recognition because, damn, great performance. I think he's far better than Emma Stone in Begonia, and seeing the rise of Begonia and Jesse Plemons kind of left in the dust was like sad for me. That was really sad.
Yeah, I really wish that the Oscars had some sort of tie and we could have had six lead actors because even though I like all those movies to varying degrees, I don't know who I would personally yank out for Plemons, even if I do like Plemons, because I feel like everyone there is so equal in what I like them for or what I like their movies for. But yeah, this probably wouldn't have helped me either because I would have been like, well, he wasn't eligible, so of course he's gonna make a lineup of six.
Yeah, I don't I maybe this would have made me doubt my long shot of Michael B. Jordan missing for Jesse Plemons because like Sinners performing as well as it did at BAFTA, um, I think that would have been like, okay, no, Michael B. Jordan is actually happening. He's getting in for sure. Um, yeah, because I took like a long shot with the Oscar prediction there, and it was not a smart long shot. But I mean, Jesse
Well,
Plemons.
if you want to talk about long shots, Best Supporting Actor, the only long list that Delroy Lindo made was BAFTA. He doesn't even get the nomination here. He makes the Oscar lineup, and Paul Mescal is that person you were theorizing Michael B. Jordan could be making every
Yeah.
precursor, missing the Oscar. Take we can argue to be the top five, and I now I guess the 4 or 5 out of the top six, and throw in a guy from a British movie, which they always do one. I was saying it would be Andrew Scott, but no, it is from I Swear.
I swear is huge, and I'm telling you, man, we got to look out for it next year.
And supporting actress, this one probably wouldn't have done us many favors either. Elle Fanny wasn't longlisted. Odessa Zion gets the BAFTA nomination, something Monica Barbaro could not do last year. And where if we had these ahead of time, I probably would have caved and said, well, Zion's doing more than what Barbaro did last year. She's just going to get the nomination instead of being a one for one, which lightning in a bottle cannot really strike twice. I didn't predict her, but Grande, who I did predict, doesn't even make the BAFTA. So that would have been a death blow for her if we had these ahead of time. On top of the fact that her movie got zero Oscar nominations.
Well, and Amy Madigan not making it here would have been a big shocker for me. I don't think there's no way I would have taken her out, but Amy Madigan not being at BAFTA is really, really, really weird. But I do think whoever wins BAFTA might be my prediction for the Oscar.
So let me
I,
float this to you. Tiana
yeah.
Taylor has SAG, she has Golden Globe, and Inga wins BAFTA. Do you still go Inga, or do you go the person who has two with the potential Best Picture winner?
I I'd be really tempted to go Inga, but I think I would go Tayana. I think
Okay.
like I am locking Tayana in at this moment. It would take a lot for me to not predict Tayana, but BAFTA going Inga
Would be tempting.
would be tempting because clearly the actors loved sentimental value, but like I would need to be certain in Skarsgård winning. Yeah, so let's move over to casting because I think that BAFTA has one of the craziest snubs of casting. Hamnet, not here. We thought that Hamnet was going to win BAFTA casting. Uh, like that was the whole reason we were putting Hamnet into the casting category at the Oscars in the first place was that it was winning BAFTA because BAFTA has a trend of giving their casting prize to an acting winner
With kids.
with kids. Yeah, there's kids and Jesse Buckley. And like a Nora winning casting was like a big sign that Mikey Madison was going to win actress. And so now Hamnet's not here, which is crazy. So where does that leave us? Does that leave us with Marty Supreme or One Battle being the winner? That brings us to the end of this week I mean, we've had so much this week. And next week we're really not going to have anything. We'll find something to talk about next week, but we're not going to have much for a little bit. But If you made it to the end of the video, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with everything we're doing here. We've got a lot more videos coming out. I'm 3 movies away from finishing the Oscar death race, at which point I'll be releasing a ranking video of every single category. There's a top 5 Brazilian video in the works. And yeah, I mean, we got plenty of other stuff coming down the pipeline, and we hope y'all stay tuned for that.
Yeah, this will be the year I actually watch all the shorts because I don't have to work weekends anymore. So when they show the shorts in theaters for one night only, I can actually go and see them. So I can actually give my own shorts rankings for the first time in forever.
That's fantastic, Dylan. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, but like Matt said, consider subscription. It helps the channel continue to grow. But until next time, my name's Dill.
And my name's Matt, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.